Thank you, Tom. I think I should sit down after that. Hard act to follow. Tom was a good friend, a good coach, and never he spoke of me doing things for the track and for the track team, but Tom was just as generous in his efforts towards me, and I appreciate that very much, Tom. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Blair County Sports Hall of Fame for their contribution towards athletics in this area, for their recognition of athletes in all sports. And I'd particularly like to thank the selection committee for my nomination into this select group, and congratulate my fellow inductees here this evening. I think it's a tremendous honor. We follow some great individuals, and it's a real pleasure to be here and be part of this Hall of Fame. I've been involved in athletics since the 30s and up till the present time, because I'm still officiating track and field and some swimming meets, and occasionally playing Tom a little squash. Now he keeps saying that I beat him. I did it one time, but not any longer. Tom has surpassed me, and he just keeps an old man in the game to make me feel good. Thank you, Tom, for that. Through athletics, I have been able to get a college education. I traveled this great country with track and field meets, which I was very privileged to do. Had the opportunity to take part in various levels of football. As Tom mentioned, I didn't make the pros, but I did play 4 years of semi-pro ball, and it was a satisfaction, and it was a source of income, particularly when we weren't making much back in '48. I started out teaching and coaching for $2,400, and that wasn't an awful lot. But I got my first job as a result of teaching and coaching. I was then able to move on to Franklin Marshall College, where I spent 40 years. But more important than that, I had the opportunity to meet and associate with a lot of wonderful people. Some I competed with, some I competed against. And two of the people in this dais this evening were two of the most outstanding individuals that I have ever met at Catawba College. Don Hanley and Tony Georgiana. I was a freshman, they were juniors, and they were well liked throughout the community, and you can understand why. And I'm so happy for them, because Don and I then, and Kenny Carl, who's passed away, moved on to Franklin Marshall College in the V12 program. And there we had an excellent team. Don was at one end, I was at the other end, and he was still the best team member on that field that day, and in fact that whole year. Don had to leave early because he was pulled out, and we stayed on. We did lose our last game, but it was a very good game. We lost 13-21 or 21-13 to Bucknell. No one reaches this point in life without the support of a lot of wonderful people, and I had that support from my family. Mom and Dad and my brother Paul have passed away, but my sister Grace and her family are here. And Grace traveled all the way to Catawba in 1942 to see us play football at Thanksgiving. Took Mother out to the Olympic trials in 1948. My brother Johnny, who's here this evening with his wife. Johnny was a good supporter of mine, and he was a good basketball and baseball player himself. My two children, Mike and Sue and their spouses, didn't see much of Dad during his coaching years. That's one thing I have against coaching. You don't see your family as much as you should. I guess that's the nature of the beast. And my good wife Phil, who for 41 years looked after me, keep my scrapbooks, listened to my woes, and I had them, and kept those meals warm, and she did it without a microwave in those days. Thank you, hon. Appreciate that very much. My mother loved football. You know, they'd say, gee, your mother loved football? She loved football. She never missed a game my junior or senior year in high school. Dad come to see one game, the Johnstown game of 1940. For those of you who don't know anything about it, Brooks Kaufman stood there and watched the end from Johnstown come down, touch the ball, and walk away. Brooks had the presence of mind to pick that ball up and go. He went down to the 30-yard line with 2 minutes to go. We scored a touchdown with less than a minute to go. Vince Chuchetta, I think, scored that TD. We come out of the huddle for the extra point. The ball was gone. Fists started to fly. 12,000 people poured down in the stands. My dad looked over at my mother with disbelief. He says, Marie, do they do this at every football game? Thank goodness they didn't, Pop. But it was quite an experience for him. I'd like to thank our coaches, and Tony did it very nicely about Coach Dick Bartholomew, and Dick was a great individual, one of the best. We had great coaches in the football end of it, Ken Bashore and his staff at that time, and Dick Bartholomew and his staff. I was fortunate because I was able to play or take part in some sprints with Dick and his crew, and Harry Dingus, whose name was mentioned, was our jumping coach. And Harry took a greenhorn like me all the way to the state championship in the long jump, and that was only 21.6 3/4 inches. It wasn't 22.8, Tom, that was in college. But nonetheless, it was gratifying because I had failed to make the javelin throw in the trials. Took the first two to the states, and I only threw third. But I had a great coach also in Paul Adams. Paul Adams, his techniques in the discus, or in the, well, discus shot and javelin, were as sound today as they were 50 years ago. And really, folks, we were blessed with good coaching. I can say that from the bottom of my heart. I never realized this until I was out of college and into coaching myself, that I realized what we had, and we were thankful for it. I also want to thank my college coaches, my individuals that I was associated with in college, administrators, people that I competed against, and two individuals that were from this area, along with all the athletes I had the privilege to coach, because without the athletes we wouldn't be coaches. And that was Denny Zajac, who's still on our winningest mile relay team, 1600 meter relay team, and John Schrafe, who ran the high jump for me and was on our first undefeated season. I want to thank everybody that made this night possible. Thank you all for being here, for making this a most memorable night for me and my family. Thank you.